All right, I got another fun pistol caliber comparison here today. As you can see, today we're doing cabbages. So I previously did watermelon with hollow points. Then I tried cantaloupe with FMJ rounds. And some of the FMJ rounds almost blew up the cantaloupes. So that tells me that hollow points would have just completely disintegrated them. I was thinking they were a little tougher than watermelon, which they might be by size, but since cantaloupes are so much smaller, didn't really make much of a difference. Now this cabbage here, which is why I wanted to shoot cabbage now, obviously this is going to be a lot tougher. So this will, in some of the other videos with the more juicy explosive targets, it's hard to tell the difference between 9, 40, and 45. With that said, these are all, as far as at least standard rounds go, like your ball rounds, standard FMJ loads, they're all pretty close to one another, honestly, in foot-pounds of energy. But regardless, still going to see, hopefully, a difference today, because these are not going to explode like the watermelon, cantaloupe, and soda pop. So we should be able to get pretty decent exit wounds out of these and be able to compare expansion and exit hole size and whatnot with these cabbages, because they're a lot tougher. So if you missed the watermelon or the cantaloupe video, I'll go ahead and put a link to those in the description so you can go and check them out if you want. So here's the ammunition we're using today. Not going to use FMJ, like I said. FMJ through these would probably just leave a little entry hole and a little exit hole out the back in all calibers, with this cabbage being so tough. So hollow point's going to be a lot more interesting there. And I set this out of order. I think it's because the 380's so small. I always put that first, but we'll be doing 22 first, then 380, 9, 40, 45. We're going to be going from smallest to largest. But for the 380, this is the only one, well, potentially. I'll get to that when we get to the 45 here. But this is the only one, potentially, aside from 45, that's going to be a plus P load. But given the fact that this is the least powerful centerfire cartridge here today, and also has the shortest barrel out of all these pistols, I think that's pretty fair to give this one a plus P round. So this is actually what I currently carry in it. It's Underwood 380 with the XTP bullet, and it's plus P rated, as you can see there. I am aware you're not recommended to shoot plus P ammunition through this, but 1 or 2 here and there for the test should be fine. For the 22, the last two I used a Gila Super Maximum hollow point, but some people requested the Stingers, and they are far more commonly known. So I think that's a good idea there. We'll go ahead and switch to the Stingers from here on out. Maybe we'll see Velocitors in there somewhere, but Stingers is one of the most popular rounds, fastest, most powerful, etc., which, by the way, I have gel tests on the Stingers and many more 22 long rifle. You can check that out in the 22/Rimfire playlist. Also have 22 Magnum and 17 HMR in there as well. I've also been doing gel tests on all these calibers, so check out the channel for that. 9mm is going to be these standard pressure 124 grain gold dot. 40 Smith & Wesson, again, the 180 grain gold dot standard pressure. A lot of people said, why not 155, 165 grain with this, especially considering I was using 185 grain for the 45, because this is a light load for the 45, whereas this is a heavy load for the 40, as in that's slow for a 40 and this is fast for a 45. They didn't think that was a fair comparison, but this is what I had, guys. So the only other thing I could do to go heavy on the 45, which still isn't going to be a fair comparison because it's a plus P loading, with these Hornady Custom here, 230 grain XTP plus P. I also like the idea of keeping them all gold dots, but I think for today, since we had those mentions of it not being fair to go 180 and then 185 between the 40 and 45, I'll go ahead and use these. But again, I'm sure we're going to have some comments that's not fair either, because it's a plus P load, whereas the 40 is not. So I'll judge by the comments whether we should use the gold dots from here on out or these. However, that being said, in future tests, I will be acquiring, I'll try to get the lighter gold dots. That's just not something I'm able to do right now. But in the future, we'll definitely be seeing 155 or 165s for the 40 and 200 or 230 grain for the 45 standard pressure. real quick before I ramble on too much more, these are rough numbers, but the 22's got about a 4-inch barrel, the 380 about 2.7, 2.8, the 9mm here about a 3.2, and both the 40 Smith & Wesson and the 45 here about a 5-inch barrel on those. Alright, so I got the GoPro down there on the other brick so we can get a view from the back and also maybe some slow motion footage there up close. So as I said in the beginning, we'll start with the smallest caliber going to the largest. So we'll be 22, 380, 9, 40, and 45 in that order. And guys, I am wearing safety glasses just in case I hit that brick, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Although that one there, starting with the 22, that one is kind of small there, but I'll try to aim a little high on that one. Alright, so here's with the 22 long rifle. Obviously just going to have a little entry hole there. And there's the exit, which actually not too bad. That's a pretty big exit hole there. And I got small, well, sort of small hands, guys, medium, whatever. But that's about the size of a 12 gauge slug right there on the exit. Came in a little low on that one, but I think we still missed the brick on the back side. Well, that's a pretty big hole, and it was real close. But I don't see anything on the brick there, so that is 100% from that hollow point expanding. It did not hit the brick or anything like that and cause that. So that's a pretty good hole there. I don't know why I always chuckle when I go from 380 to 9, because there's so much more destruction. Saw chunks flying on that one. So there's your entry, and I can actually see daylight through there a little bit. Yeah, just shredded the back of that. So honestly, these aren't quite as tough as I expected, but I mean, they're still holding together somewhat, if you consider that holding together, and they're not completely exploding and liquefying like the watermelon and cantaloupe. Let's see what 40 and 45 does now. Alright, so things are getting interesting. So that shot, it was just a little high. I mean, like, it was right there, guys, and the top of Cabbage was up there, so it was like half an inch higher than dead center. So honestly, not a high shot at all, and it just completely blew the top out of that thing. So there we're seeing, even with that heavy, slow 180 grain out of the 40 there, a lot more damage than 9mm. So we'll see how the 45 compares now. Alright, let's try that again. In the past couple of videos, I've made note that I have no front sight. It sheared off on me. I got to contact Ruger and see if they'll send me a new set. So it's a little difficult aiming. Alright, that was a little better hit. Chunks flying everywhere. And so yeah, it was like up to here. So again, a smidge high, but not too terrible, like an inch at most from dead center there. and just completely dug it out. And you guys should have seen me on the video there. Wow, yeah, look at that. I flipped it so that first high hit there is on the bottom, so it wasn't affecting this. Still a little higher on that than the 40 though. But again, guys, that was with a plus P. So you know what I want to do, and this is the smallest cabbage, but turn it that way. I want to hit it with that other 180 grain gold dot with the 45, see what happens. So again, this was one shot here by the 22, but I turned it sideways, so we're not shooting the same side. And we're going to try that 180 grain standard pressure, excuse me, 185 grain standard pressure gold dot. See if we can notice any difference there. Again, that said, it's already previously been shot with the 22. And it's also smaller, but don't know about the scientifics of this one, but I want to do it anyways. All right, so again, just a little high there and blew out the top. Not as much as that, the trench doesn't look as wide as the plus P though. I don't know.
380, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 230 grain 45 ACP plus P, 185 grain standard pressure 45.
So I don't know about you guys, but at least with this cabbage here, it does seem that the larger expanded diameter of those 45 slugs is throwing a little more cabbage than the 40 Smith & Wesson there. But thanks for watching this installment, guys. Like I said, if you missed the watermelon or the cantaloupe, links in the description. If you want to get yourself any products you see me using the videos, headphones, target stand, a bunch of stuff you're not seeing today, steel targets, links for that and much more in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button for me. But I really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope to catch you on the next one.